Hello and welcome to this Iberia Regional Cluster Tour of SmartAgriHubs. My name is Judith Anda and I work to the Regional Ministry of Agriculture of Andalusia region. And this institution is leading this regional cluster. First of all, I want to thank Sutherland and Partners for this opportunity and all of you for joining to this webinar. In this webinar, we are going to show the regional cluster Iberia activities, but we are mainly focusing on the importance of the cooperation amongst digital innovation hubs to generate innovation in the territory and also amongst the digital innovation hubs and competence centers. We also want to remark that our 28 Flagship Innovation Experiment in SmartAgriHubs can be starting points or reference maybe for many other innovation experiments in the future. And now I give the floor to my colleague Noemi Molina. She's directly involved in this regional cluster, and to Pompeu Diaz from Consulai, our co-leader from Portugal in this regional cluster. So, Noemi, when you want. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Judith. Thank you all the participants for coming. Here you have the agenda. After the welcoming, we are going to have a very short presentation of the regional cluster Iberia. And after that, we will have two digital innovation hubs talking about cooperation amongst digital innovation hubs and centers of competence to see the importance of this cooperation for the next or for these open calls that have been recently launched, and also our colleague Rafael Ángel Ferrer will call from the part of the FIE 22. We will have a very short time for discussion, and Harald, the coordinator of World Package 2, will tell us a bit about the open calls, and after you will have a time also for your questions. So first of all, just let me show you a very short video to present our regional cluster Iberia. I'm not sure if you can see my screen.
We don't see your screen anymore now, Noemi.
Okay. Okay, there's a problem, I think. I don't know why.
Should I show the video?
Maybe, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Thanks very much, Joanna,
You can share your screen now again when
sharing the video. That was a very short presentation of the regional cluster. There you could see that we have 23 digital innovation hubs and 3 flagship innovation experiments. I think the presentation doesn't work. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if we can move on to the other slide there. And just wanted to share with us that our first year of the regional cluster Iberia, as you saw in the video, there are 23 digital innovation hubs. We were 19 at the beginning, and we are still including other digital innovation hubs that registered in the innovation portal very recently due to the open calls. We are having monthly meetings from the very beginning of the project with our digital innovation hubs and our flagship innovation experiments. We are using Twitter and LinkedIn with our own accounts, and where we also had the possibility of elaborating a brochure describing the regional cluster or digital innovation hubs at that time and the 3 flagship innovation experiments. And there you have 3 very important events for us where we had the possibility to be face-to-face with our digital innovation hubs, flagship innovation experiments, and other stakeholders. The first of them was devoted to the open calls in September last year in Seville, in Spain, and the second one was directly addressed to the digital innovation hubs in order for them to meet them and get to know each other. And the third one was a workshop on the innovation portal in Malaga in Spain, where other stakeholders from different digital innovation hubs could see from first hand what the innovation portal is about. And also, as other regional clusters, we are collaborating with the SmartAgriHubs project newsletter, other newsletters from different initiatives, with the different work packages, with different collaborations and video conferences. And we are also working on the dissemination of the SmartAgriHubs webinars and the different open calls of the project, and also different relevant information from other projects and initiatives that we consider that are of interest for digital innovation hubs and flagship innovation experiments. We are closely collaborating with other initiatives such as the thematic partnership of the S3 platform, traceability and big data in the agri-food value chain, and for instance also with In Vivo Quest from France. We are elaborating we elaborated communication material, and also we're working hard in the presence in events and conferences, just because we think it is important to to be there so we can reach other digital innovation hubs, potential digital innovation hubs that can join the regional cluster. And of course, we had the social media week in 1919 and 1920. What's next? We are working hard in an action plan for the next course. We will have monthly meetings as we've been doing from the very beginning of the project. We will continue with communication in social media, but we will have also what we've called breakfast with. We will have special meetings for our digital innovation hubs to present their organizations well in depth and to share their experiences, their interests, and so on, so they can get to know each other very well. And also we will have a flagship innovation experiments open day where our 3 flagship innovation experiments will have the opportunity to share with us also their results and transfer some of the outcomes. We will have more actions, but it is just an example. And what we want to do is to share this action plan with you all, and that's it. And now here you have our contact details. As you saw in the video, the regional cluster is led by the Regional Ministry of Andalusia of Agriculture, and Colette by Consular in Portugal. There you have also our social media, so please follow us, etc. And after this, because this was important for us to show what we were doing and what we want to do, we're coming into the most important and more interesting part, which is the experience of our digital innovation hubs and flagship innovation experiments. So I'll give the floor to our first digital innovation hub, who is the digital innovation hub ITK. So Marta, please go ahead.
Thank you, Noemi. It is a great pleasure to be here today. I would like to present the Digital Innovation Hub of Industrial Technology Knowledge, the DIH-ITK. Next, please. First of all, and very briefly, this DIH is located in Linares, in Jaén, in the south of Spain. Next. As you all know, a DIH is composed by a group of entities. So these are the members of this DIH, basically a technological center, CETEMET, from where I am presenting, and as long as other companies and public administrations, etc. Well, going to the principal ideas. Next, please. Why a DIH? Let's talk about it. The DIH mission is mainly to support the digitization of the local industry and public administrations. It enhances the regional innovation ecosystem with the provision of horizontal digitization support. Well, all of that makes it easier to SMEs to find support. Next. Here I'm showing the services of DIH, basically 3 groups. One group of ecosystem activities, another one of technology and innovation activities, and another one with, let's say, business development and skill creation. Next. In this sense, the DIH-ITK's mission is to digitize the industry in the line with the concept of Industry 4.0. So here you can see the different technologies that we offer and that we apply in a cross-cutting way. Next. Now, talking about the regional impact of a DI8, it's interesting that the report say that on the average in Europe, only about 1 out of 5 companies is highly digitized, and there are still large disparities between regions in the take-up of ICT technologies. Next. So regarding with the DI8 ITK regional impact, we support the digitization at national and international level, but talking about regionally, already only in Jaén, we have access to digitize more than 200 SMEs and more than 5 other large companies. Next. So it is important, the ecosystem. The advantages of DI8 having good relationships could be the transfer of technical knowledge, the reutilization of previous solutions to other regions, the access to new fields of knowledge, and the combination of services, including laboratories, etc. And you can also multiply the possibilities of financing going in a consortium. Next, please. An example is our relationship with the regional cluster Iberia. We have been participating in the most of the meetings actively, and even now being partners in the SmartAgriHub project. We have been winners of a talent type of activity in the open call response COVID-19, going in a consortium with Andalusian, Agrotech, and Polo de Contenidos Digitales, in which we are leaders, the DI8 ITK. Next, please. Well, here I want to show other ways to expand the relationships of a DI8. Could be the platforms for that. One example is DI8 Net, with a focus on developing of a set of tools and boosting the relations. And here at the bottom, I'm showing other examples of technological platforms that the European Commission fostered. But of course, there are more options. Next. So, next, please. I hope you find it very interesting. Here you have our contact, and thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Marta, for your vision. Now we are giving the floor to Rafael Ferrer. He's the coordinator of FIE of FIE 22. If this, let me, now. So whenever you want, Rafa.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Noemi, for the opportunity to present our solution and the possibilities of the collaboration of the Flagship Innovation Experiment in this project. So, as Noemi said, we are the coordinator of the Flagship Innovation Experiment 22. So next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, first of all, our Flagship Innovation Experiment is the Iberian Irrigation Portal. So our Flagship Innovation Experiment is focused on the smart irrigation. We are working in innovation technologies applied to the irrigation regarding agriculture always. And then it's we need to key partners for making an irrigation advisory board. So this is the main goal of our Flagship Innovation Experiment. Next, please. This is the partners that we are working in Flagship Innovation Experiment 22. We have partners in Portugal and partner in Spain. And We are working with several competence centers in both countries, and always with Digital Innovation Hub, and who is supporting all the innovation and technology that we need to put in common in order to define this innovation action that we are doing. Next, please. And regarding competence centers, we are this type of entities is working with us in order to support knowledge, all the knowledge regarding algorithms, models, and so on. So if we need to do some algorithms and some models regarding to calculation different smart technologies for irrigation, this competence centers is supporting all of these actions. So in this flagship innovation experiment, we are working also in defining a competence catalog for shared knowledge, for share this knowledge to the community. And these competence centers in general is supporting the AgTech knowledge. So next, please. And regarding the relationship between flagship innovation experiment and digital innovation hubs, it's very, very important to keep in mind that we need to define an ecosystem for making this type of normalization and homogenization of this technology that we need to apply. The flagship innovation experiment must support these common strategies and this put in common these different strategies for make this innovation. The Digital Innovation Hub support the other new flagship innovation experiment in order to define this structure, this framework for all the flagship innovation experiment. So it's very important in the open calls also, because the open calls is going to add new flagship innovation experiment, and we need to put in common all of these technologies. So this is a hub for all flagship innovation experiment for improving and promoting these new technologies and the new innovation. And also the Digital Innovation Hubs must has a very important task, is to transfer this innovation, this technology to the different actors in order to enhance the agribusiness in general. So flagship innovation experiment is going to define what is the innovation to apply. It's going to demonstrate this innovation to apply, but Digital Innovation Hubs is going to put in common all of this and then transfer to the agribusiness sector. So the knowledge synergies among all the fields or all the flagship innovation experiment is, I think, is the key important action to do for the Digital Innovation Hubs. So next, please. And the last one is this a schema for represent the collaboration between flagship innovation experiment, competence centers, and Digital Innovation Hubs. So flagship innovation experiment need to establish a common relationship to the competence centers in order to make this knowledge, shared knowledge, and this competence catalog, and always support by the Digital Innovation Hub in order to make this common framework. So I think that's it. Yes. Thank you very much, and let's talk in a few minutes. And this is my contact data. So please, anything, any question or anything else, please contact me.
Thank you very much, Rafa. Well, we have seen till now a very good example about cooperation amongst digital innovation hubs with Marta. Now an example of cooperation within a FIE, an FIE with Rafa, and now it's turn of having an example of cooperation amongst digital innovation hubs and centers of competence, and that will be presented by Carmo Martins, who's the responsible of Cotton, which is a Portuguese digital innovation hub. So Cotton,
hello.
Carmo, sorry.
Hello, good morning. First, I would like to thank the opportunity to talk about this project that we are starting with a competence center. Just to introduce, Cotton is a center for horticulture and fruit production in Portugal. We are an association that link the competence centers and the producers organization in all territory. Next, please. When we were invited to talk about this cooperation that I will talk a little bit later, I would like to share with you the advantage that we felt to be in the Smart AgriHub networking. For us, it's very important because bring together several entities related to the digitization in agriculture in the single location. So for us, it's very important to have this link between all these kind of entities. The other advantage that we felt is to boost our work, since it is an international network, so we can change experience and knowledge with another digital hubs. So for us is very important. The other advantage is the change experience and learning in order to promote the digitalization in agriculture. As it was told earlier for the other colleague, in Portugal we have several regions with several kinds of knowledge in this area. So we have to work differently in all these regions. So for us it's very important because that is our reality, is same in other countries. So it's very important to change, to know how can improve, how can we promote the digitalization in these different realities. The other is the set of technical and financial resource which allow us to to do projects in partnerships. So for us, it's very important to be in this network. Is a very good resource for us. Next, please. The advantage of working with competence centers, as I told you, Cotton, our association, it was our main objective is to do the link between the competence centers and the producers. So we have here an interface work. So for us, it's very important to have this link with competence center because we have access to the last technical innovation in the area of the digitization in the agri-food sector. So for us, it's very important. The possibility of intercooperation with several competence centers, national and international levels, is very allow us for constant update of innovation in this area. So for us, it's very important because in this area everything is happening too fast. So it's very important to have this link between the cross with the competence center. Another is the provision of solution in the digital area, which working together with the digital innovation hubs can boost the adoption of by the productive sector. We think that is a very important reason to be linked with the competence center. Please, next. Next, please. Yes. Now, this is a little bit not so easy to see, but now I will talk about this project that calls Life to Fresh. It was a response to the Smart AgriHubs call for hackathons and challenge in order to have a response to the crisis to COVID-19. So we present this challenge with the Competence Center of Inextech, is in the north of Portugal. They have a tech for agri-food, that is an innovation service for agri-food and for forestry, that is co-shaping the digital revolution in agri-food and forestry. So it was perfect for the project that I will present now. Next, please. So we have to present a project, and in this case a challenge, to respond to the crisis of COVID-19. And the problem it was that the consumer of fresh vegetables and horticultures, it was decreased in the last months in that products that consume with the peel. So the consumer, it was afraid to consume this kind of products because that there is no an evidence that the virus can pass through the vegetables, but it was in this area there are more doubts than certain. So the reality is that the consumer decreased. So what we think, and because we work in the horticulture sector, it was how can we give more confidence to the consumer, and we thought that this one of the response it was by the package. So we tried to work and to see how can we work the package in order to increase the safety and increase the quality of the products, and in the last increase the consumer of this kind of products. Next, please. So the Life to Fresh is an online co-creation program that aims to optimize the shelf life of foods and to shape novel and innovation technology for foster the development of innovation value change. So this in working novel package solution, food treatments, method of next generation additives. So it was the area that we think that it will be important to work. Next, please. So this is not to, it's just to show how the program is organized. So we have a first phase where we'll set up the challenge framework. So the objective is collect 20 ideas for project ideas. Then during the second phase, we will, with the help of the enterprises that work in this area, that give us letters of support and interest and be part of this process of choose. We'll choose 5 ideas, and then we choose the 3 in the end that will have support to develop the idea. Next, please. So the results. So we identify the following expected results for the sector. First is to secure European society with plentiful, regular and seasonal supply in a different safe fruit and species and varieties. To provide to the European fruit growers with easy to handle storage management technology, proper use and knowledge to support profitable, environmental and societal friendly production. The 3 was to increase the fruit consumption in Europe. This is a big aim that all the sector in Europe we need to increase the consumer of fruits and vegetables. So we think that the results of this challenge can give response to that point too, and finally contribute to the reduction. To food waste. That is a big problem, as you know. We think that when we work these thematics, we will reduce the waste of the fruits and vegetables that that is very high, and we have to decrease. This is the results that we expect to have with this collaboration between us and the Competence Center in S3P. I think these are all. Next. So.
Yes. Thank you very much, Carmo, for your presentation. Now it's time for discussion. We have some questions for the panelists. So I'm going to give the floor to Pompeu. He's going to conduct this time. So Pompeu, he's our co-leader.
Thank you, Noemi.
Maybe
yeah,
I can stop sharing my presentation so we can see you all.
It's
No?
fine. I will ask to the panelists to turn on their cameras so that we can all have the discussion. So Marta, Rafa, and Carmen, if you would please turn on the cameras. Thank you. And thank you for our presentations. They were very interesting, and congratulations, Carmen, for this project that you presented. Firstly, and to get this discussion going, I have a common question for the three of you. So, first question is, what does a digital innovation hub get from being part of this Smart AgriHubs network? And what are your thoughts regarding the innovation portal approach? Is it a valid solution for your organization? So, what are your thoughts? I will start with Marta.
Yes, I can start. So first, I would say that one advantage is the networking at the European level. And of course, the approach to the agri-food sector from other regions of Europe, and the possibility to know about experiences and flagship innovation experiments that other people are carrying out. So, and I think second is related to the regional cluster Iberia. I have to highlight the fostering of transfer of results and the information dissemination between DIH and companies that the regional cluster Iberia is doing. So congratulations for that.
Thank you so much, most definitely. I would also like to add that the attendees of this webinar can put their questions in the chat, and we will have a small time to answer this question. So, continuing, I'll ask Carmo if you want to.
Okay, as I told already, it's very important because we have similar problems in this kind of digitalization in agriculture. So it's very important to have this network where we can change problems, solutions. So for us, it's very important, as I told you. So this network has resources that is very important for us. As Marta told you, the kind of the information dissemination of information so is very important. So for us, it is an advantage to have to be in this network.
Okay, thank you. Rafa, would you share your insights?
Yeah, of course. I think it's a good action in 2 points of view. Related to the people who are working in the Smart AgriHubs, all the actors that we are participating in this project, it's a good framework. It's a common channel for sharing data, for sharing innovation, for sharing technologies in general, for putting common all the solutions that we are now developing, and so we can search strategies, we can search synergies, many technology that could be applied to other flagship innovation experiments. So it's okay. The other point of view is from the people in general who access to the innovation portal in order to access to what is running right now in the agriculture sector. So it's a good dissemination portal is a good dissemination window for the people in general who access to the portal in order to search this type of technology that could be applied to the sector.
Okay, yeah, most definitely. I can continue asking Rafael. Having in mind the results obtained by the FIEs, and this possibility that you mentioned to transfer these results. What will you say to digital innovation hubs who want to submit proposals to the Expand open call and develop new innovation experiments? What would be your advice?
Yeah, so I think that for related to the transfer of results and so on, I think the main action to do is the identification of the main benefits of each technology that we are doing. So we could identify this type of action, and we could promote, and we make some action to promoting and to make networking among all the actors in order to demonstrate and disseminate all this innovation. So the identification of the main benefits is the actor that is searching this type of identification in order to identify what we need, what we can achieve in this common framework, and how can I apply this technology to my sector.
Okay, thanks. So I have another question here for Carmo. So I know that you partner up with a competence center, and I would like to ask you what's the added value for a digital innovation hub to partner up with a competence center to push forward a proposal and share a bit your experience and your thoughts about this partnership.
Okay, for us is fundamental the relationship with the competence center, because as I told you, they are the center of knowledge in this area. So and for us that to achieve our main objective is to promote the digitalization in our sector, is fundamental to have this strong relationship with the competence centers. It was very funny because we work with since many years ago with several competence centers, but in SPEC is the first time that we have this kind of relationship so close. So it was very good for us because they have many experience in this area. They have a very strong work in this area. So for us, it was a big opportunity to work with them, and it's very important to know and the link this the relationship that the competence center has with each other is for us very important, because it allows us to have different approach to this thematic. So for us it's very important, and we are very enthusiastic in working with NESCTEC in this area.
Thank you so much, and hope that everything works out for the best. So a final question to Marta is in line with this last one, but what's the added value for cooperation amongst digital innovation hubs? We always see these interactions like in the digital innovation hub in the center and reaching out to competence centers to carrying out flagship innovation experiments. I would like to know your perspective of the added value for different digital innovation hubs to collaborate and to create value.
Yes, thank you for your question. Definitely, I think the transfer of technical knowledge between different DIHs and the access to new fields of knowledge, also plus the combination of services. This is the key, the combination of services. So the idea is that you can take advantage of the networking of DIHs to combine the capabilities in such a way that all the digitization and technological needs that arise for a DIH have to be covered. So yes.
Thank you so much, Marta and Carmo and Rafael, for sharing and to discuss. As I know that the time is not the most generous of times that are available for discussion, but thank you so much for your insights. And moving forward, we invite Harold, that is from WP2 coordinator, that is responsible for the open calls, to give a short presentation regarding these open calls. So I will give the floor to Harold. Thank you in advance for your willingness to participate, and go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pompeo. Noemi, could you continue, please, with the slides? Would be excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. I would like to introduce a little bit the most recently opened calls of the SmartAgriHubs project. Please, next slide. And therefore, I would like to highlight, let's say, the basic, please, the next slide. Yeah. You can also click 4 times, then all the slides will be there. When we are looking here in SmartAgriHubs on digital innovation, digital transformation in organizations, and especially looking at the agri-food chain, of course, we are looking on sensing, analysis, and control. So more or less, we are doing this for decision making, for also looking on food integrity. So it will be at the very end provide really new features which will enable a larger stakeholder audience to really improve their activities and facilitate at the very end also public decision making. Also new approaches will be enabled for consumers, for stakeholders in the chain, and we also see that there are really new interaction potentials are coming up. And at the same time, of course, we are talking a lot about technologies where not one technology is not the key. It's really for mastering, let's say, this complexity and find the right balance between stakeholder involvement and user, especially involvement, really look at the needs, which are at the very end the driver for all the solutions. But at the same time, and I think this also, thank you very much for highlighting this in the presentations before, also getting the right contacts to those who can help stakeholders with technology transfer, giving access to latest knowledge and also of design of such solutions, and at the very end also for ICT providers to facilitate the development of new business models, as well as, let's say, reach out to customers. Therefore, please, the next slide. I think you have now to tap 3-4 times until the next one is coming. So these are more or less the aspects I was talking about. Therefore, what we did in SmartAgriHubs is that we wanted also to expand the network, saying, yes, we have already what you saw, innovation experiments, which are already active from the very beginning of the project. We have already digital innovation hubs involved, competence centers involved, and we want also to extend this network. We want to validate approaches for digital innovation, for coaching, support, technology transfer. We want to validate this in different regions, in different settings. Therefore, when we were working on the open calls, where we were analyzing in all the different regions, what are really the needs, where shall we focus on? Finally, we came to this agreement in SmartAgriHubs really to focus on digital innovation hubs, especially about their role, and that they are supporting innovation experiments with a portfolio which was also presented in the presentations before, and then really to focus here the funding and support from SmartAgriHubs, while the innovation experiments are the supported initiative by the different stakeholders, where especially the Digital Innovation Hub is supporting them. So then please, next slide. Therefore, what we did is also due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we planned it a little bit differently before. However, we said, well, let's do something else. And also the other presenters, as they said, yes, there were already proposals selected. There was a call which closed on June 3rd. And now in the next days, the first projects are already starting due to this very first respond call. However, what we said is we want to have 2 additional calls, which we opened last week on the 8th of July. And it's on the one hand, the restart the system, as we called it, is right about hackathon type of activities, which shall also mitigate the effects of the crisis and especially contribute to a restart of the economy after the crisis. And at the same time, also saying what I talked before, expand the network, that to which degree we can add new digital innovation hubs and competence centers. Please, next slide. And especially about the respond open call, you see here some facts and figures, and well, it's just to highlight that I think the interest is very broad for such activities. And as we see here in hackathon type of activities, we are supporting now 13 proposals, 13 projects, and with partners from 19 countries, from 19 European countries involved. And you see also here there were proposals from partners from 22 countries. So you see there's quite a number of countries and regions involved in those activities. Please, next slide. And also for the, we also did a pan-European challenge. So asking SMEs to submit proposals with very concrete ideas to do something in the scope of this crisis, really to directly respond to the crisis. There we were focusing on a little larger projects, while therefore a little bit smaller amount of projects. As you see here, we received an amount of 78 proposals, so quite a number and a lot of ideas. I must say, really reasonable and good ideas. And unfortunately, we were not able to support all of them. We needed to make a selection as usual, unfortunately. However, we were able now to select 8 proposals from 6 countries, which are addressed there, with very specific solutions towards the COVID-19 perspective, also from an agri-food perspective. Please, next slide. And therefore, when we are now looking to the open calls, so which we published last week, it's restart and expand. It's about a continuous submission scheme. This means the calls will be opened until the 28th of July next year. So you can submit a proposal during this time period, and we will have several dates where we will evaluate proposals in batches. So the first date will be in 3rd of September, the next then in 5th of November, and after that we will decide how many dates we will define in 2021. Also due to the number of proposals we are receiving and also the learning what we can take away. Please, next slide. So, and after each evaluation, we will be able also to start then those selected projects. While it's about a threshold, so it's about excellence, not just about a listing of proposals. So therefore, the restart open call, that's about also hackathon type of activities where digital innovation hubs would submit a proposal in the range of, we are saying in the moment, of 10 to 60,000 euro expected funding, while as said before, we would fund 20% of the overall initiative. This would mean that they are piling it up with all activities of other stakeholders, which will account then to the overall budget. So, and I think this is really something which can be a very good cooperation with the existing Digital Innovation Hub. Please also go to the website of SmartAgriHubs. There you will see really already the existing number of Digital Innovation Hubs and Competence Centers, also about collaboration, even within regions and also on a European scale even. Please, next slide. Therefore, when we are looking about the hackathon type of activities, just to summarize this slide, yes, well, we try to give a little bit ideas about this. You will find also those statements in the open call document, which you can download on the Smart AgriHubs website. I would highlight this restart open call. It's therefore I made it in bold letters to better cope with the requirements of the new normal, because we all know it's not like before what we're experiencing in the current moments with all the challenges we are experiencing. It's really how can we cope with the new normal, and how can we find ideas also for innovation experiments to do something different. Next slide, please. So that's the restart open call, more the hackathon type of activities. There are 500,000 euro planned overall for this, and now the expand open call, and this is really for searching for larger projects where digital innovation hubs are leading initiatives, one or several digital innovation hubs teaming together, which are supporting innovation experiments. And we would support the digital innovation hubs when they are providing their innovation support services to innovation experiments. And I had now several questions concerning, how large the innovation experiment shall be. We do not want to predefine that. We do not want to predefine the size of an innovation experiment, because we can imagine about small ones up to very large ones, because this also depends first on the region. This depends also on the initiative. What do I want to achieve as a digital innovation hub in a region? So there are different types of, let's say, objectives and potentials a digital innovation hub could realize with this. And there are possibly also detailed questions we also have in our Smart AgriHubs forum, which you reach via the website. We have a frequently asked question corner in the forum where you can ask very specific questions with respect to the calls. And there are anyway already quite a number of answers where we are discussing details on how this shall work, what we thought on the open call documents. Please, next slide. Therefore, what I said, a digital innovation hub would support the realization of innovation experiments. And this is just one example. This is, the figures are a little bit screwed up. However, it's about the 20-80 principle. So 20% is coming from Smart AgriHubs for the digital innovation hubs being able to provide services to innovation experiments, innovation services, and at the same time also testing and validating such services, that we all can learn what is the best way to support innovation experiments. Therefore, those innovation experiments, I was giving here an example with larger numbers, but possibly it might also be reasonable to have an innovation experiment of 10,000, 30,000 or 50,000 euro, I don't know. And those innovation experiments would be funded, let's say, as part of the total budget from own sources, from external investors, or whatever sources might come up there. Next slide, please. Therefore, what I said before, I think you might have still quite some questions open. You will be able to download all the documents for the open call. We have for the restart and for the expand open calls. We have a more shorter document with some 6, 7, 8 pages where you find the basic conditions, a template about the evaluation approach. At the same time, we have a longer document on the open call program where you can learn about certain eligibility criteria, the conditions, the background, so where you can learn a little bit more. However, when there are still questions remaining, of course, we also have a forum where you can also interact with colleagues from the project, and where we are regularly checking for those questions and trying to answer this in a, let's say, quite straightforward and very regularly on this page. So thank you very much. This was my presentation on the 2 open calls, which are now published on the website, and it would be really great to see proposals from you. So thank you very much for being able to present the open calls to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Harald, for your presentation. I know we're a bit with a bit delay, but if you have some questions, we can still have a very short time for that from the audience.
So for the participants, you can also type your questions in the tool. we can also see then your question, and then we could also answer it directly or try to answer it here. So if this is the possibility, so I'm here.
You have a chat box, so please use it if you have questions. We'll have just 5 minutes, something like that. If there is someone.
Yeah, I think it's
no.
Yeah, I'm also continue talking, because if you're thinking on your question, well, let's use the time. And I think a lot of question which we received was according to this 2080 principle. And as I said before, our 20% is really focused on the Digital Innovation Hubs, because we see that this is really the core concept which we want also to validate in the open calls. And it's this, we do not just want to have a technology-driven initiative, because we think it's also a lot about those innovation services. How can I really access innovation services? Which innovation services I really need? And how can I also get access to such innovation services? And what can we learn? What can we also learn from different regions? Because as we know, let's say the agri-food practices in the regions are quite different when we're looking, for instance, to Andalusia, to Portugal, to, I don't know, to Porto, to Lisboa, or to the Algarve, or if we're going then to the Netherlands, to Poland, to Sweden, or wherever. I think there are quite some different, let's say, situations, apparently. So there's a question, could you explain again the funding methodology of Expand Open Call? Namely the 20% maximum of total budget for funding. So thank you very much, Andre. I think it's straightforward. We are saying the Digital Innovation Hub is our focus. Their effort can be funded up to 100%, period. That's it. However, their mission is to support innovation experiments. And they would organize the realization of innovation experiments. And there we think, just to balance it also in kind of how much would be really required for a Digital Innovation Hub efforts, we think 20% would be reasonable compared to 80% total budget, which would be invested in all the innovation experiments. So not just saying, okay, I have 20% budget here and one innovation experiment. So how many? I just had yesterday the question from Raul from Poland. If it's then 10, 20, 40 innovation experiments. So that's not the discussion. It's about there will be innovation experiments, and these are either doing it on their own investment, based on investors, based on whatever budget, or also additional projects. So that is here the idea that also the Digital Innovation Hub, because one of the innovation services is also enabling access to finance. And just if we are saying, oh yeah, here is the Smart AgriHubs budget, then just forward it to innovation experiments. That's also not part of, let's say, give access to finance. That's also, I think, here really elaborating what is really the business model of the Digital Innovation Hub. How can we really learn from that? That's the basic idea behind this 2080, let's say, principle. And indeed, you will find quite some readings on the one hand in the Smart AgriHubs forum. Just for your information, if you want to access there the questions, you shortly need to register. So that's a 5 minutes process, if at all. It's without obligations, without costs. It's just, well, if you're contributing content to a forum, we think it's way better that you are registered there, that we know who put which content. And at the same time, that also the colleagues here from the communications work package can reach out to you with possibly some new news about activities, and you will also have access to training materials or library and so on. I think it's already now a quite nice portfolio of services which is offered on the one hand via the Smart AgriHubs portal and the forum, which is very interactive between the members over there.
Okay,
so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Harald, for your answer, and to Andre for your question. I cannot see any other questions, and they have enough time to write it down. So maybe we can finish here.
Yeah, also just a hint, there's also a frequently asked question document. So also this you can download besides the portal. Also there's a document already, which we will also update in some, let's say, frequencies and add also questions we anyway received via the forum then.
Yeah, and I'll encourage all the participants to go also to the forum. I can assure that they are very quick in their responses, so do not hesitate to use it. And also, I will encourage all the participants to think about projects in cooperation. I think cooperation is really important for us. You know, I think you know the proverb, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I think this is an opportunity here also to do some things in common and to share and to learn from each other. So I think it's something we have to take advantage of. Thank you very much.
Exactly. And I would also like to highlight one final aspect, that if there are stakeholders outside and you're thinking, well, I have a great idea, I would like to do this or that in my company or on my farm, and would like to do an innovation experiment on that. And then please also go to your local and regional digital innovation hub and ask them for their support. And I think if they are getting such support requests, they can also, let's say, join with you such a project, and then via projects like Financed by Expand, you would also need not to pay their consultancy and coaching support, because also we need to take into account if you're asking for support. So who is really paying such support services? And this is also a measure for like Expand and also Restart, that such innovation support services will be financed and need not to be financed by the innovation experiments colleagues. So.
That's good to know for our participants. So, well, thank you very much, Harald. Thank you for being here and accepting the invitation. And thank you also our panelists, to Carmo, Marta, and Rafael. Thank you very much, Pompeu also, and Joanna. Thank you for supporting this webinar and for your help, which was very valuable. Thank you, Judith, and thank you to the participants too. Well, have a very nice day, and I hope you all present a lot of proposals to the open calls. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.